Studio Galaxy 473 Confero. We're back again with you, and today we have Master Carl and KB with our technical operator Devante, and we're back with you on Studio Galaxy 473. And we are the Galaxy Equalizers. And the topic we're discussing today is the Draconial Laws passed in Grenada to address the challenges of crime. Interesting, government and the Prime Minister himself has declared that the laws are draconian. And he believes that these laws would help to deter, to punish, or to address the challenges of crime in our society. The number to call is 410-3030. Easy number to remember, 410-3030. We encourage you to share our program and subscribe to Studio Galaxy 473 in Confero. Brothers and sisters from the diaspora, we depend on you quite a lot to help these new kids on the block stretch that program and bring it to you. You can participate. We welcome and highly appreciate your participation with the Galaxy Equalizers. We provoke discussion. We don't have answers to everything, but we believe in the democratic process. We must have individuals that fear no subject matter, that will express their views and opinion, and we know some people go be angry. We know that. We might like you, and we still criticize you. We have with us Brother Master Carl and KB. And KB, the Prime Minister himself has declared draconian laws to address the challenges of the upsurging crime in Grenada. What says thou?
Mr. Pierre, thank you for having me. Listeners, happy to be on air today once again. And we all were concerned of the recent upsurge of crime in this country. But to be honest, Grenada is still a relatively peaceful country. You understand? It seems as though the authorities panic. Get the impression they panic. They wanted a way out. So they decide to pass laws, if heavy penalty for anyone caught with a firearm or using firearm to commit crime. Penalty goes to 5 years, to 10 years, to even 40 years. You understand? We don't have no problem with that. We have no problem with that. What concerns us the most is when the Prime Minister says, hey, most of the crimes use phone to commit the crime. So the police now, they're giving the police the power to go into people's phones. You understand? To extract evidence. No. That is where that is where the people of this country concerned. What guardrails the Prime Minister and his government put to prevent the authorities from abusing this process that goes beyond the criminal activities. And what confidence you give us, what guardrail you put to make sure that you don't use it against your political opponent. That is what you're concerned about. Because, hey, we have Mr. Francis Pierre here, Brother Master Carl. Apparently, people feel they are anti-government policy. So, a mischief could be done to them. They could top their phone and use it spitefully against them. That is what we concern. I remember during the revolution, I make one phone call to Strand Philip, my friend Strand. And then he asked me on the phone, who's speaking? I said, Jack speaking. He said, Jack? I do not person. I say, my name is Kennedy Jack Budlal, but everybody know me as KB. That word Jack was enough to land me in jail for 42 months. I was arrested, and they say, you're using a kind of stand name Jack. That shows you intend to do something wrong. And that place put me in jail for 42 months. Strand Philip, because of that phone call, he received over 1,000 bullets inside the house. Dead man. I remember when they arrest me and bring me in Grenada, and Huey Ruman said, Jack, what happening? I wonder what Jack he talking about. I said, Jack? He said, what happened? You forget your name or what? When you call Strand Philip, you use the name Jack. I said, because? So what? I'm Kennedy Jack Budlal. He said, nobody don't know you are Jack in the army. You know you as KB. Put in jail for 1 year. After 1 year, they charge me. The PI take another year, like 2 years. After going in front of Lyle St. Paul, the judge, he said, well, there is no evidence adduced to ground conspiracy, so you're free to go. And they say you don't make a difference. You're back in jail for 42 months. That's why I'm concerned that police having the right, or police with political leaning having the right to go into people's phone. You understand? They could do mischief once you're not politically aligned to them. I couldn't understand. I don't mind you going to criminal phone, you know. And you use it as evidence because all of us want to stop crime. It's not something we relish in our society. It's not part of our culture. This gun culture is new to us. We know of a cutlass culture, but now the gun culture is something new to us. And we all want to put a stop to it. But we concern. You could abuse the process. You can take on your political opponent and maliciously use that law, that power you give the authorities to go into the phone. Because Grenada, as I said before, Grenada is relatively a peaceful country because every Grenadian is a police. Grenadian is fast people. They doesn't mind their business. They talking anything they see, they hear, they talking, and they want people to know. They are the first one to know. They're telling the police, they're telling their neighbor, they're telling their wife, they're telling their children. That is why the police able to crack a lot of case. Because Grenadians are very fast people. And thank God we fast because that helps keep us safe. You understand? What we don't want is for the authority to abuse that laws they put now and to turn it to the political opponent. You know, you could listen to my conversation and pass the information to my wife and break up my living. You could pass the information to my concubine and break up my living. You understand? You could pass it to my best friend and break up a relationship. That's my concern. We need privacy. Everybody have a best friend. And we are hypocrite animals. I might be moving good with Pierre, but I might go in a can and make little susu behind Pierre back. You understand? Privately. Next thing, you take it and you bring it by Pierre. And you make a war between me and Mr. Pierre. That is what we're concerned about. I hope and I call on the authority that not only tough laws will stop crime. What's about the poverty in this country? Why don't you go to the student council and let them debate it and discuss it? Let the student, the children themselves be part of that discussion. Why the church people don't take up that issue and discuss it in the church? The NGO discuss it. The farmers discuss it. The bus drivers discuss it. The conductors discuss it. Because everybody involved. Everybody want to stop crime. But I surprised they don't say, well, boy, let's bring back hanging as I mean to stop crime. They could go down. I feel they might go down that road. Because if they're lazy, they don't want to do the work.
Prime Minister says Draconial Laws.
Yeah, but
and I have power. So I could pass it around.
Yes,
I agree with you, KB. I think these laws is not targeting criminals because the Grenada police force have a very good track record of solving crime. I don't know what percentage, but I wouldn't surprise if well, Master Call is here. So Master Call, you could come in on that, and we particularly concerned about that. But from the police point of view, the Grenada police have a very good track record in Grenada for solving crime. So we do not advance the view that these draconian laws are necessary and is definitely a threat to people's individual freedom.
So, first of all, the Attorney General in the press conference told the nation that she instructed FIU to investigate. And that is the same thing KB saying. If the Attorney General could instruct FIU to investigate the matter with Mr. Scott, what stops the Attorney General from instructing the police to investigate political opponents through the phone? You see the parallel there? Because she already admit to the nation that she instructed FIU to investigate Sheldon Scott. She said it. So, as KB asked, where is the guardrails? And we know this present administration is not mature enough to not to want to go after the political enemies as they see. And the political enemies does not necessarily mean persons or the other political party, you know. So all of a sudden, because of what Francis Pierre is saying, he becomes a political enemy. So what stops the Attorney General after she boasts that she instructed FIU to investigate Sheldon Scott? What stops the Attorney General, Claudette Joseph, to instruct the police to investigate Francis Pierre?
A threat to national security.
What stops, and you're looking at it, what stops, because Francis Pierre is a businessman, what stops the Attorney General from asking FIU to investigate Francis Pierre financial situation? And that, what is dangerous, you know? Let me move on to the law itself, the one. So, and I maintain laws are made to regulate the conduct of citizens. Law is never made to punish anybody. Anytime laws become a punishment, it is overkill. It is as a means of a deterrent and not a punishment. So when you hear about 40 years, 40 years, is that
Overkill.
reasonable? Because you see, the thing about it with this firearm thing and persons are not saying it was supposed to, and I was one of the solutions I thought for firearm was the same penalty, KB. But how the law is written, I could get a ride with you, KB. I flag you, and you have a iron dog in your vehicle, and they stop you, and they get it, and I can't advance. What defense I go advance, and they say it's part of it. So I could just go in jail for 40 years for getting a ride. And that's what is the problem. You know. It's not a matter of not to put laws in place to increase the penalty, you know, because we always feel something ought to be done. But the excesses, and if the AG already boasting, she could get an arm of the state to investigate a political opponent. What stops the same AG from instructing another arm of the state, the RGPF, for going after perceived political opponents by interfering with a phone? And KB give many reasons what could happen, Mr. Pierre, and that what is the concern?
That ought to be a concern of every Grenadian, particularly the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dick Mitchell, and the NDC. Because when you pass these laws, when you lose election, NNP ain't taking any losing. There are some NNP outside there that lost their job. You are calling them the worst names in Grenada. Classless, beggy. And now you pass laws to invade the privacy. When you lose election, what do you think happened to these laws?
Maybe the day before they prorogue parliament, they go reverse the law. They might go in parliament.
This is a dangerous attempt in Grenada at people's freedom.
Because they know the intention is malicious. How could you tell me you have a knee-jerk reaction to crime and just talking about, and you boasting about the law being draconian? That was the issue. It's not people who say that, Kiwi. The Prime Minister himself feels glad to see we bringing in some draconian laws. After the same man who say he knew was just a matter of time for the gun to reach here, but that had nothing to do with him. All of a sudden, it has everything to do with him, and some draconian laws is the answer. And as KB say, a lot of things start with education, Mr. Pierre. It starts with the schools, grassroots. What consultation was done? Who was spoken to come to that conclusion? And having power in the hands of novices, the only thing what could happen, they will misuse it. And the Prime Minister made a lot of pronouncement before, like having power and didn't know how to use it. And all this sort of things. So that is frightening now. When you listen to the utterances of the Prime Minister, and people must not lose sight, the Attorney General says she instructed FIU to investigate, Mr. Pierre. What stops Claudette Joseph, the Attorney General KB, from investigating a perceived opponent's phone, political opponent? What stops her from calling the Commissioner of Police? And the Commissioner of Police and others are doing the biddings of this present administration by the actions they are taking. So what stops the AG from calling up the Commissioner of Police and say, go and take KB phone? Because he's a threat to national security.
That is what is frightening. That is what is frightening. If they perceive you, Master Carl, Francis Pierre, is a threat to national security, I don't know if they, before they interfere with your phone, if they have to go to a magistrate to get permission, or they can go with enough evidence to say, hey, here are the evidence, so we need to go into Master Carl's phone, and that judge will give them permission to go into Master Carl's phone, or they take that decision by themselves. That is what I want to find out.
They didn't go by a judge to investigate Sheldon. Because he said she instructing. That where the problem comes in, okay?
But I want to say these new laws they putting in place where you interfere in people's phone.
Okay, when he didn't have laws, she instructing. When he have, my question is, what stops her? Or what is the legal hurdle does the AG or the government have to get over to do that? Because the legislation, though, when you read it, it don't require no legal hurdle. So, and we know how this government do. Once you speak something that they don't like, they see you as a possible NNP. You could vote for them, they could see you vote for them, and you don't agree with them, they call you NNP. And Mr. Pierre does list the names they associate with you. So what stops the government? Because if the AG could instruct FIU with this law, KB, what, as you say, what guardrails is there to stop them to go after them?
Privacy.
What stops them? What could stop them?
I thought they were before. Let's suppose they want to tap into my phone. They should go to a judge or a magistrate, somebody in authority, and give enough reason, enough evidence that they need to go into my phone in order to crack some kind of crime. But for them to do it arbitrarily like that, just pinpoint MasterCard, pinpoint KB, pinpoint Francis Pay, and say, go into the phone because look, they are threat to national security, so you have right to listen to the conversation. I'm really, really concerned about that.
They become judge, jurors, and executioners. And you gave the example of yourself. We have a lot more examples, but you gave the I was a victim of that. And this is why I always say, for our democratic process to function, to be effective, some of the individuals in position must prepare to speak. And at this situation, it's an invasion of privacy.
Where the human rights organization, Mr. Pierre?
Well, the last time they jailed Tillman Thomas for human rights, and you have after that. Uncle Tilly is a convert now that perhaps supporting these draconial laws. I'm not being any man who like weed plenty speak on that. He like to speak on issue. But I don't know if he's so satisfied now that is minor. I've not heard the trade union speak on that. I've not heard the cry from the Bar Association. And this is our best legal minds in the country. I've not heard the cry. Well, I don't know. People always ask about civil organization, some turn politician, and I believe perhaps Ferguson maybe not well. I've not been here.
Sandra?
Yeah, I believe Sandra perhaps not well.
She went in a self-imposed exile.
Other that she married or something, but she can be and don't speak. So these organizations are silent. And the government established restorative justice. You see how it unfolding?
Yeah.
Political vengeance. The government set up MIT, mobilization, implementation, and transformation. And this is generally a ministry set up for political mischief.
I want to ask.
Now the government passed the Draconial Laws that give them the authority to invade your privacy by going on your phone. Yes, Master Carl.
I need to ask KB a question. KB, in your time being around the revolution, what was the primary focus of the Ministry of Mobilization?
Well, it's to mobilize the masses to defend and protect the gains of the revolution, and it's very good. It's used as a propaganda machine against the political opponent, against what you call counter-revolutionaries, against imperialism, You mobilize them people and educate them to have one trend of thought. You understand? You set the tone, you set the policy, you set the agenda. You mobilize people around, the whole policy of the revolution. That was him.
Now, ask that question against the backdrop. Listen where I'm going with this thing. It is not a coincidence, Mr. Pierre, that Andy Williams was made the minister of MIT. Because he said, and I joined from what KB said, was to mobilize persons to have one trend of thought. He told the nation that he has no original ideas. So he was the easiest person to indoctrinate in this vengeance thing, Mr. Pierre. Because he has no original ideas. So any idea or anything he speaks of, it becomes his by adoption from somebody else. And we see what happening in mobilization. Because we see what happening. But what is frightening, KB, with all that is the level of corruption that is going on. When you hear in that persons who has contract has to pay MPs, KB.
Yeah, that's frightening.
$10,000. And you're hearing when one MP here, another one getting, he going and ask for two.
But they're getting enough money now. They're supposed to involve in corruption. You're
What is
talking
not
about
enough?
$15,000 now.
So mobilization, the intention of mobilization is to beat back destabilization, as you say, and to indoctrinate the nation or the thought process in a particular way. Who better to do it than a man who has no original idea? So any idea he brings would be the adoption of somebody's idea, Mr. Pierre.
But in addition to that, Andy appears on the surface as a likable person. And Andy has been restrained, ensnared. Economically, he has been encapsulated because they bury him in loan. So Andy must obey the dictates of Deaton. I feel sorry for this individual. You know. This individual is one of the biggest sacrificial lamb of the NDC. When they finish with Andy doom. They bury him in loans through the GDB Bank. He has compromised himself so much because he is the one heading the Ministry of Political Mischief in the country. And there is no turning back for Andy because he is buried in loan that he would not be able to pay. Even if he is investing in business, he don't have time. When he had time, he was in trouble economically. Now he has no time, but he is buried in loan. There is rumor, wrong, and speculation that some of the individuals who received the loan from GDB sold that which they put up for security.
Yeah.
They sold that which they put up for security to get the loan. Now this individual is responsible for political mischief, and he has the power now to go in people's phone. Sometimes I wonder if the people in the diaspora understand where we're going in Grenada. When we speak about restorative justice,
your good friend Willie don't know about that.
no, Willie, my brother Willie don't know. And you see the Ministry of Implementation. And then you come back and you look now at the Draconial Laws that are passed. These laws are passed specifically to discipline the opposition. And who is the target now? Jenny Simon, the classroom, Sheldon Scott, the extension, independent stock, on target, and perhaps the Galaxy Equalizers. So they could tap your phone, go in your phone, and use the information in your phone for political mischief. Now, how could a country like Grenada do that to its own people? And KB is not to say we don't have comparability, not to say we don't have a pass. We have a pass. St. Lucia and Dominica and St. Vincent could make this mistake. Grenada should not be making these mistakes. We saw what happened to the revolution. Over 3,000 people go in jail. We saw the castration of individuals. We saw some of the crimes that committed against our own brothers. 40-odd years. We're recovering from these wounds. And now we are reintroducing. And we still have too much Grenadians that want to stay silent on that. You know, how could our brothers in the diaspora, how could Mr. Tillman Thomas, Uncle Tilly, when I say Uncle Tilly, I already said the greatest respect for him, as he's like when I say Uncle Gary.
Yeah.
Uncle Tilly. How could the sister that was so stressed out, she said if she stay one day more in politics, she go dead. The doctor tell her leave politics. What's her name again? Even the Attorney General They help him to stress out. I forget the sister name. She was Minister of Education. She came on the air. She said she's stressed out in the politics. She stay one day more, she go dead. You can't remember she name. She was Minister of Education.
You was speaking a little
She
while.
was in the civil organization before election.
She was
But when
in
election
charge of the
come,
Peace Corps one time.
she was in charge of Peace Corps. What's she name again? She husband was a lawyer.
Yeah.
Saint Bernard?
Not Saint Bernard.
She was one of a very nice guy, Bonadine.
Bonadine. Franca Bonadine. Where is Franca Bonadine now? You know, all these individuals, how could we support? And you know what is sad, KB? What happened when the government changed?
But you're speaking about people, somebody we doesn't remember. Where is this person, Joan Purcell? She gets somehow some Dame
Right now,
Purcell.
Joan Purcell is so tintillated with all the awards she get. We can't disturb her. She can't take on that now. Right now, Joan Purcell can't stand that.
She can't study that.
She can't say that now. She basking in the glory of Dame now. She can't study.
Intoxicated in the realm of Dame shit.
Yeah, she can't study that now. So that's the challenge we have with these draconian laws.
I would like some people to call and
The number to call is 410-3030. You can call and make your contribution.
ventilate on it because
On
that,
the issue.
this is.
And when they call it, they must agree with us.
You don't have to agree with us.
See, we all concerned the rise of crime in this country. All of us concerned. We all want stiffer penalty. But at the same time, you have to appear to be fair. You have to appear to be fair. And people, privacy, you have to guard it. You have to guard against people invading other people's privacy. A lot of people live a very private life.
You know what's strange, KB, is before this government came, they always used to talk about law and order and the constitution. But everything they're trying to do now runs a mock of the constitution. Even the new pension thing they're talking about, section 92 of the constitution speaks clearly on pension. You see, any other scheme you want to have, it can be worse than the one you have now. And the one you have now, Pierre, is non-contributory pay. You must know that. And you're asking for one with contribution, so already less worse off. The fact that you didn't have to pay for the first one, you're getting money, and now you have to pay. You already worse off, KB. And then you make all kind of pronouncement about contract workers. You say it was illegal. You say a stroke of a pen could fix it. You talk about regularization. You see, everybody could make it permanent. Everybody will be permanent. No need for a parallel public service. And now, Mr. Pierre, what you having is the same set of people, KB, legitimizing what they call something wrong by bringing pension or a pension plan for contract workers. And you tell contract workers with no uncertainty, you was clear. You say, we go make all of our permanent. No need for a parallel public service. But now you're seeing all these things happening, so you ask yourself, and then to crown it up, this kind of laws. It's sad.
I feel sorry for people like Andy and them. You know, even though they sell everything they have, but the manhood should be protected. You could sell everything, but your manhood, that is not for sale. You understand? No one should hold you at ransom. You know, like Master Carl, you could walk high, walk with your chest up. Francis Pierre could walk with the chest up.
You walk on carway.
Because the manhood is not for sale. You protect that. Sell anything else, but not your manhood. And when you get yourself in these financial difficulties, put yourself as a slave to your boss. the authority. Lose your manhood, you sell it for nothing. That is the problem. Protect your manhood.
These sometimes that's why I say they are ensnared. They practically restrain.
Yeah.
These individuals exhibited great greed, and they were trapped. It's a very peculiar phenomenon in Grenada. A guy once told me, John Gall tell me, Grenada don't obey logic. Sir. He said, what you see in Grenada is just logical. These individuals end up there, and they toss for money. They are entrapped. So you find Andy, perhaps with all good intention, end up being given a ministry for political mischief. Socialist countries are communist countries, are countries with one party state. Countries with one party state always have an armor mobilization.
Yeah.
Because they have to try to mobilize the masses. They want mass organization, NWO, because you cannot have undisciplined masses. This is one of the doctrine, the philosophy of socialists and Marxist Leninists.
Control.
Theocracy and all these countries. They have to control the masses. So they have a whole arm of mobilization, going outside there and getting youths to be in groups and organizations. But in a democratic country, there is no need for these things because you recognize the independence of the judiciary. You recognize freedom of expression. You recognize the trade union. Everybody is free to join an organization. So there is no need to mobilize the masses. Political parties have their own political groups. NNP have their groups, NDC have their group. So each government ministry have an information arm. Ministry for Information. Although the government have an information arm for the government. What do you call it? Ministry of, what you call the government information unit? But each ministry, GIS, each ministry would have their own, whether it's 1 or 2% for information. So mobilization have no place in modern day democracy. The government have a ministry for mobilization. So that ministry is a political mischief to go around to find out who is NNP and who is NDC. Who don't pay for the land and is NNP. When somebody apply for a scholarship, they ask what he is. I want you to check with them with mobilization. That is the purpose of this ministry. Political mischief.
A friend of mine who is a police officer say, Masaka, you don't speak on things on the radio, but it's real, Tell me, he went by a particular officer and they was having a discussion and the officer said, well, you have some potential, but you're too green. Man say he look around. You see what he intended to see might have put him in trouble, so he just don't say nothing. And next one again, he have a rank card anytime by you think you could reach far with this green thing. So that's what's going on. And then you hear the Prime Minister say they're getting upgraded arms and ammunition for the police. But what
the
is
police
strange,
don't have enough firepower in Green.
but what is strange, the criminal elements won't let the police outdo them.
Yeah, but all these things are why you need more powerful arms. Because so far, we know of no incident when the people doing the street crimes, I consider the street crimes are not organized crime. Street and domestic bad behavior crime we have here have confronted the police,
crime,
and
take
the
the thing
police
and
had
pay
to
them.
back down.
I agree the state is not at risk.
The state is nowhere at risk.
No.
In addition to that, guys fire 2 bullets wrong and dance and run. A fella have a land, fire 2 bullets, people call and say the man fire gun. These are the crime we have in here. Yes, we concern it's an upsurge, but why do you need?
Heavy power.
You know, I remember incident that happened. One incident during the revolution. A few young people was by the block in a discussion, and a young girl come around their age as schoolmate to talk to them about joining the NWO. NWO was
National Women's Organization.
no, the NYO,
National Youth.
National Youth Organization. One of the boys said like, we don't join in no organization. Are you arresting all them fellas in Tivoli and conference? We don't join in no organization. So she said, you will hear from me. And she left. It was a Sunday evening. Well, they don't bother with her. The Monday morning when he wake up, the mother say to him, when the mother wake him up, she say, get up, go and bathe. You're going in Trinidad. Why say, Mommy, I don't go in Trinidad and do what? I don't have a passport. She said, you heard, you ever call on the line? Yes. KB, you'd have to take the call.
Hello.
Well, good morning. I don't know if I'm the first caller opening back.
Yeah, KB, you can.
Yes, go ahead.
Good morning, good day, guys.
Yeah.
Very interested program. Marlo caused me to break the Sabbath to call. It was so interested. But don't watch that. I was listening to the program in terms of the Draconial Laws. I want to know if, number one, if they will give any leniency, like someone who end up in a case like, okay, like remember you all give an example of someone who got a ride. It's someone's vehicle. And the police search them. They search the vehicle and they find both of them, they find a gun in the position of both the owner and the person who got the ride in the vehicle. If the person who got the ride is innocent about that gun, I want to know if they will have any leniency for that individual, if the law will show any leniency of the individual based on the individual case what brought before the court. That is one of the problems. I want to know if that could happen, because sometimes people could get a ride, they find the possession of the gun. Sometimes the gun could be the driver own, and the driver and the person could get screwed. Or sometimes the gun could be the person who got the ride and the driver could get screwed. Either way around. So I find even though they come in with that they're supposed to have some kind of a leniency, some kind of a way that so the innocent person could they could have leniency and the innocent person, and the innocent person could walk away from the court. I don't know if that might be involved in that Draconial law, but that word Draconial songing so harsh. It's songing so
Draconial is harsh.
Yeah, a kind of harsh penalty. So they don't easing up nobody. You understand? And how I listen to you, that could have a lot of political interference and things in truth. You understand? They could come after, activists, heavy activists who is opposing, and especially you opposing the wrong of the government, and they don't want that they go say, oh, that I anti-NDC, that person is not from inside, let me shut up that person. Put a case against them, find some kind of a ways where you can put a case against them and to shut them up, put them in prison and all that kind of things. So technically, we're going back in the days of the revolution,
But I think it's worse.
Technically, we're going back on the days of the revolution, where people might have to leave Grenada with only their clothes on their back and go. I can remember that as a little boy. I was 9-10 years. 8, 7, and we hear enough people who leave Grenada, go Trinidad, go away, because there was anti-revolutionists, and when you think people they wrongs in you up and all that kind of a thing. So that might we might as well be going back to that kind of a stages again.
Yes,
so I'm listening to your program and I want to hear your answer.
Yes, scholar. Thank you.
The first thing I want to tell you, Carl, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. But secondly, You raise an important point.
Between 10 to 40 years. So they might give you 10 instead of 40.
But who has the discretion to say whether they believe your excuse or not? Because you have some cases or some offenses, the police do have discretion. Yeah. You have to charge.
Yes.
So I want to know if that would be one of those cases where the police do have discretion.
It's up to the prosecutor and the magistrate.
Yeah. You just have some cases where the police don't have no discretion once you think they have to charge.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, keep what you're saying.
Yes, this is a very we end up in a very difficult position now, period, because what we realize, a lot of people remain silent. Key people. You know, when people right are being violated, we expect an uprising. We accept our outcry from the church, from the moralists in the society. You know,
somebody asked, is it possible to reverse the law? Well, yes, if you have more in parliament, you could always go and change the law. But right now, it's the NDC in parliament, and they have the majority. So while these laws, they passed the Draconial Laws. And I was giving an example before about the individual who they turned down the offer to join the youth group. And when he reached home the Monday morning, his mother was there, his aunt was there, and they were in a car waiting to put him in the dicky. And he asked his mother why. She said, you heard what the girl say? You go hear from her. You know what that mean? And the Tuesday they stow him on the boat and he go in Trinidad. He spent 5 years. We heard the story in the revolution of the young boy, some pioneer, that come home and rest the gun on the table and tell his stepfather move. And the stepfather make for his brother. And in a few days he was in Trinidad. He spent 7 years in Trinidad.
You hear this one with Kraft and Chaitan. Murray asked his brother to spy on him. And he refused to spy
on his brother.
Both he and his brother end up in jail.
He went up in jail.
Because Kraft and Chaitan was perceived to be a Muslim, a counter-revolutionary. So his brother is a red-skinned guy. I just forget his name now. Murray asked him to spy on Kraft and Chaitan.
Sure, he could spy on brother.
And he refused. He ended up getting
both of them in jail.
Yeah, both of them end up in jail for refusing to spy on him.
So we're going down a wrong trajectory. And that is why we're encouraging discussion on that. And we have somebody asked a question, what is long gun and shotgun? I mean, I don't think it's more powerful gun, and the difference between long gun and shotgun.
But Mr. Pierre, you think we need a more powerful gun in Grenada? We have enough, the police have enough firearm.
One individual tell me the amnesty was for the container gun, because I understand the container gun that came was powerful machine gun, whatever case, guns that we don't use in Grenada.
If I use it in Iraq.
But what happened to these guns? Would these guns be incorporated in the police station? Can we hear that when you say a container gun, people might be exaggerating. Is it about 50 guns, 100 guns, 300 guns? How much guns was in the container? Because you notice we have not gotten any information about the type or quantity of guns. Or if it's one container load, or if it's a container with gun, or a whole container come with gun alone.
I could understand if we have, let's say, a revolutionary group that is threatening the government. Therefore, you take stock and you beef up your security and you arm your police to the teeth.
Of course.
But you don't have that anymore.
Them armored cars and bombs.
Yeah, you don't have that anymore. You have enough arms, enough guns. You understand?
It's not to say somebody want to invade Grenada.
We shouldn't be spending money on it.
What we have here is street crimes.
Yes.
And some individuals, they have access to gun, find gun in the air, in public places. You might have one or two incidents where people get shot, and people are annoyed about the upsurge in crime. And I believe the government themselves contribute to the upsurge in crime based upon the utterances, the statements, and the
Economic policy.
economic policies of the government. But the government seems so glad to get this opportunity to pass these laws so they could invade people's privacy for political reasons. Massacre.
But what level of consultation was done to come to that conclusion that this high-powered arms and ammunition is needed here? Because you have to react to situations and not overreact, KB.
I agree.
And is it a stage that the present government panic? Because a lot of persons are saying that they are not doing much. So when they panic, Mr. Pierre, they just have a knee-jerk reaction and try to bring in those legislation to say, we brought in legislation. But the sinister thinking behind the legislation is to get after the same set of people who are pointing out the things they're not doing. So Francis Pierre, every weekday, speaks of them. Jenny Simon speaks of them, Sheldon Scott. The classroom. So is that law intended to go after these people?
Well, yes, I believe because they bring in restorative justice. You see, restorative justice in its practicality is tantamount to political victimization, vengeance. You see, and then the government back it up by the MIT. And when you watch the actions the government taking, the statements that have been made, you cannot see, you have to put all of them together. The utterances that emanate from the ministers, the demeaning, the insulting way they refer to some people. And when you hear the supporters, obviously when it comes from the leaders, it might be more palatable, more sophisticated. But when it comes down to the ground,
No
they
polish.
say, let them starve.
No polish at all.
Yeah. Let them go and pong salt, don't give them work. You hear people calling on the radio and say they employ a contractor in Grenville and the man is an NNP.
Well, the point is that I understand they employ a contractor to fence La Poterie Plainfield, and they say the man is an NNP, those NDC cousin. Why he should get that job?
They fired 31 workers from Grand Bay Estate, and I understand about 90 of them say, well, who's NDC? Well, they take back either 8 or 10, but somebody say they're investigating the others. Because some of them might cost the government too.
Why poor people have to go through this thing, Mr. Pierre? Why? It seems as though when NNP get in power, they going after NDC. When NDC get in power, they going after NNP.
But this
When
is
will
the
you
worst.
draw that line?
This is the worst I've seen in Grenada history. During the revolution, you had this counter-revolutionary issue. It's a question of ideology. But this is the worst I've seen post-1983.
Go after poor people.
I've never seen that in my life. And I worry about what you do see. Scholarships. Where you're going to find a number of people leaving school, cannot find a job with the Ministry of Agriculture, Health, Police, and they can't get a scholarship. Because MIT say no. The mother is green. And we're going to see a lot of our intelligent sons leaving the country. Particularly if the parents are not supporters of the government, perceive not to be supporters, you're going to see NSLM leaving the country. And I think it's a sad, sad day for us. And the NDC government have to realize that when the table turn, people are going to be calling out for vengeance. And the very laws that you pass it goes come to haunt you. It will come back to haunt you. We on to time. We have 5 minutes more, and we have a individual caller. We don't have a gun. This one come from Depradine. We don't have a gun problem in Grenada. We have a problem identifying source and sources. Why give the impression police, including SSU, are carrying 303s, musket, and Winchesters? Why give the impression? KB massacre, you could
Well, the
speak
fact
about
that they
these
say
guns?
they have to upgrade, it means that the police have low power or maybe extinct firepower.
I don't think we use tree again, man.
Long-term, not 303s, long-term security, morality of the police force should take precedence over long firearms. But we don't use straight trigger. We are more powerful gun than that.
Yeah, man.
You all are the gunmen. You are better qualified to talk about gun than me. But we don't think the answer is the quality of the gun because the police, nobody taking on the police with gun.
No.
And the police in Grenada have been very tolerant in dealing with conflicts in Grenada.
Very rare police should be paid.
So why is it the government want the police to be judge, jurors, and executioners in the country for political reasons? And I wish the police don't fall in that trap, because you that's getting hung.
Right trap.
Is a trap the government putting you in?
You see, Grenadians don't see the police as the enemy.
No.
Grenadians don't see police as the enemy. So the NDC should not make the police an enemy of the people.
St. Lucia have a few incidents where they came summary execution and people even calling for independent investigation with police activity in St. Lucia. Jamaica have the record for the most police getting shot in Jamaica and police killing the most people in Jamaica. Grenada have the record of probably the highest
Crime.
solving crime rate. How do you put it? How do you put it, massacre?
Solving rate.
The solving rate. So normally when somebody commit murder, we will practically show so that the murderer go down and give up himself to the police. That's when the people,
When a murder comes here, most of the person call the police and tell them who are ready. When the police come, they have an idea of who.
Yeah. A fella did a crime in Grenada, he go down and report to the police was a sexual crime. The woman police ask him, please go home and behave yourself and wait till the woman come. You don't know if you rape the woman yet. But the woman never comes, so.
But remember the last Peter crime we had. Men drive around mask in the face, and within 2 weeks' time they know who.
The you drive around. The people know the vehicle, the song on the vehicle, and how you're driving, who does that. So, brothers, we practically come to the end of the program, so Kevin, you have the last
Yes,
one.
I don't say we're asking the government to put guardrails and protect the right of
Every
citizen. And people have right to privacy. Yes, go after the criminal. Yes, we don't have problem with the sentence, the 10 years, the 5 years, the 40 years. But the private citizen, leave them alone. Don't abuse the process for political reason, please.
Yes, and Dick Mitchell, stay away from Draconial Laws, because the table have a way of turning in Grenada. Go and see what happened to Maurice Bishop. When they asked Maurice Bishop to turn his back, he said he ain't turning. He watching. An individual was glad to grab the gun and execute Maurice Bishop. Stay away from Draconial Laws, and we encourage you again to like and subscribe to our program, Studio Galaxy, and we are the Galaxy Equalizers. Thank you very much. And we want to thank our technical operators, Gates and Vanti. Thank you.